Cool. All right. Rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We have our first repeat customer, Ben Saravia. Welcome back, bro.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, is this my... you like that? Cool.
I need one of those in my life.
Bro, I've got you, brother. I'm here. Bring it in. Bro, welcome back, man.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Cool, man. So today we decided to actually discuss a topic, and I believe the topic is AI.
AI, yes. I just thought it was super relevant given what you do, what I do, and, our day-to-day work. So So in preparation, it's quite interesting. How does one prepare for a podcast about AI in the world of AI?
Yeah.
I'm very bullish on it. So just as an example, I thought, what I'll do is, you go online and you search if you do your research. And I was using Notebook LM, so I've only just come across it. It's very good for listing citations of. So let's say you have a topic, AI in the future. Mm-hmm. You might go into YouTube and find Sam Altman and all these Google releases and their latest symposiums and stuff, and that's got loads of good stuff in it. But there's hours and hours of footage that you might have to read and transcribe, listen to, transcribe, pull into a chat GPT classically, and then try to create some variety of output.
Yes.
So Notebook LM, just one of the many AI sort of agents out there, is particularly good at coordinating source documents, right? High value authority links, they call them.
Okay.
So then I did that. And so you're creating your own little model.
Yes.
Based on so it could be your internal brand documents or whatever. It all sounds very sort of sedentary. But then at the end of it, it goes, would you like to generate an audio overview? Which effectively, so this is what I do. So I did this last night, took about 20 minutes.
Cool.
And then I thought, okay, what does AI think of this subject? And I'll hit play on this. And this was what it got me.
Let's do it.
Plunge into the topics really shaping our world, cutting through the noise, to get you the clearest insights. Mm-hmm. And today, we're tackling something truly electrifying. It's the rapid pace of AI evolution just in 2024.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's definitely not just a buzzword anymore.
Not at all. I mean, we're seeing AI involved in Nobel Prizes now.
Right.
And benchmarks like the Turing test. Ancient history, almost.
Yeah, it's definitely moved.
So
give me some context. What is that?
So that is a generative imitation podcast based on the subject that we're going to talk about today. So, and you can interrogate that, which I did last night. So I'm like, what is the Turing test? That's you are supposing prior knowledge.
Yes.
But what I was just saying to Alice just now is you can create all this source documentation, generate an audio file, and that can be an 1.5 hour podcast if you want. And it can go on as long as you want. And then drive to Brizzy, which might take an 1.5 hours. And then you've effectively created your own podcast to listen to prior to whatever journey you were going on.
Based off your interest.
Based off your interest. And it will be delivered to you in a way that not only is it sort of in that human cadence and that feel, so you're driving down the road, but you can actually interrupt it. So when you click join, it'll go, hold on, we've got a listener on the phone.
Oh my God.
And it's just amazing. So then I could listen to that podcast on the car today before I got to you.
Which is essentially aggregated from the best or whatever's the top podcast circulating the internet at the moment.
Yeah.
You've dialed in with your topic and your prompt to give you a podcast for you to listen and learn about.
Prior to a podcast.
Prior to a podcast.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like Inception, isn't it? A dream within a dream.
It is. So, and it goes on and on. And so, like I say, you can interrogate that, you can improve upon it, you can download the transcript from that, and then that would be original content. So, anyway, I just thought that'd be quite an interesting way to start it off because that's how I prepared for today.
Yeah.
So the Turing test, which is something that we've now gone right past, is quite an old model or standard, or theory, which was basically that could a AI or some because AI is quite a relatively new term, but could a robot or some technology pass the human test such that you wouldn't realize that you were speaking to a human? That used to be the gold standard. And now we've just waltzed past that like it was a few weeks ago. That'll be very standardized, accepted output. So, and the Turing Award is for awards that are actually like computer developments. Like AI is now, finding its way into Nobel Prize awards and stuff like that because of its ability across every sort of industry to sort of speed up data analytics and everything. But if you can get that Turing Award, it means that you've actually created something. Sam Altman will probably get it. That changes humanity.
Yeah.
And so one of the things the reason why I proposed this as a subject today was I think it's almost evolving at a point which it's so difficult to keep up that you have to use AI to be ahead of AI. Otherwise, you're going to be swamped.
Yeah. I think about it, and so this is on your radar. You actually do like research, not just use AI, but you're looking into the advancements and I guess looking at it, the media side of it and learning about the landscape. That interests you? For me as a writer, classically, the first thing that happened when ChatGPT as a model was opened up was immediately all copywriting and all of that stuff just disappeared. Product descriptions and all of those things, and you go, oh gosh. In a way, that was some bread and butter work, but at the other side, it was like very basic stuff. Yes. That
you've just become good at, but it's repeatable and it's not inspiring. So I thought, is this coming from my job, sort of thing? But actually, it's the complete opposite. Because although there are time savings, I like to look at it more as the quality enhancement. So I did an article the other day, which was about Japan and its unique cultural position in this AI and robotic framework. I don't know if you want to.
Let's do it.
It's quite interesting.
Bro, you blow my mind. Let's go.
So Japan is so unique in so many ways, but effectively it's been a world leader in almost everything.
Okay.
They have this, I think they call it animistic sort of tradition, which is, so culturally they see the spirit in both the animate, you and I, or the inanimate, the rock, the house, the robot. So everything has a spirit. That's why you get a lot of those crazy movies, with the dolls and stuff. Because that's and homes and buildings and who makes your tea. All of this has this spiritual energy. So they've historically looked at things like robotics and technology not as something that's coming for my jobs, but something that augments my life, which is a really positive thing. This is this into sort of, at the moment, this technological advancement and investment and everything that Japan encourages, but the people adopt it very quickly. But they also have a demographic need. So Japan has millions of less people than it did 10 years ago. So for a country, and this is really important, for a country to maintain its population levels so that elderly people can have care and that the support services don't collapse, you need to have a replacement rate of at least 2.1.
Okay.
So every woman needs to put 2.1 children on average. But the vast majority of nations are falling short of that, short of India and those countries.
I've heard about this with Japan.
So Japan is so low that, and it's not, there will be a shortage. There is a shortage. There's about 9 million workers shortage at the moment, and so what Japan does is it wants to augment and in every way try to introduce robotics, AI learning into Japanese culture.
To aid the shortfall.
Right. Yeah. So they have robots that speak to elderly people, that can move people in bed so they don't get bed sores and all of that. And that slightly is overlapped with the fact that Japan has like a very homogenous people. So for centuries, they had isolation that they self-imposed. They used to have this theory called leadership without followers, which is we don't need others to follow us, we lead ourselves. But now it's leadership with followers. To bring it all home, what it means is, if you were to, and was one of the reasons why we went to Japan, and the other reason was because it's really cool, is that when you look at investment in technology and new technology that's emerging, often people think of China. But if you look at Japan, Japan has a governmental and sociological imperative to do this. They're already ahead of the game. There's no one who does robotics like them. There's no one who can adopt robotics. So what they're doing is they are marrying AI with their pre-existing robotic abilities.
Yeah.
There's no one who can do that. So if you were interested in that space, your logical place would be to go there, because that's where it's the flow is.
Yeah. That's when it gets scary, I think, with the combination of AI into robotics. It's, I think now...
How so? What is it that scares you?
Like, there's goods and bads to everything, but the way I look at it now, we are the apex predator, so to speak, from an intellectual level as human beings. Like, that's how we've evolved, and, you know, whether we've come from the ape or whatever it is, it's because of our intellect. But we're no longer the smartest person in the room anymore. And I don't think that that's an issue with my understanding of what AI is and what it can affect and does affect. But you look at how advanced it is. I heard this thing the other day, right? As a human being, we can process one sentence at a time, or 10 bits per second. As I'm talking to you, you're listening to me, you're processing 10 bits per second. Right now, AI can do a trillion bits per second. So there's no way any human can compete with processing that amount of information. There is absolutely no way. You need 1 trillion human beings to do the same as what one AI can.
Right.
And so I don't think that that's an issue now, but couple that with robotics and its learning capabilities, and probably more mass production. Like, you go down the road of like Terminator and Skynet and that sort of shit. And I think that's the part that does scare me with robotics is I was just pondering and thinking about it this morning. I do think it's inevitable, right? Like, everyone felt, I think that everyone thought that when technology was going to evolve, it was going to wipe out the blue collar market, right? But it hasn't. Technology evolved in AI, and it's sort of affecting the white collar market. But robotics is on its way, and marry AI, the rapid advancement of AI and technology, bring that into robotics. There's something about that, mate. If we're now not the apex predator in that space, and are we going to be in that space? There's something about that to me, man, that is just a little bit eerie, off-putting.
Yeah. Well, I think, so you have two different ways of looking at it, which is you'll get, from a governmental level, you'll get protectionism, which is, we will preserve our jobs. Just like, no tractors here, keep the plow.
Yeah.
But then the competitive imbalance that will happen will mean that if you're not using it or adopting these, then somebody else.
100%, man.
So you have to.
It'd be 100%. It'd be like not having the internet and or going, Ben, do an assignment, but you can only use encyclopedias. I can use Google.
That's right.
And there's no way you can compete with me, speed, information, resources. So I get that. I get that. And I don't think you can stop it. It's just one of those things. It's like, that's just the unknown, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm very bullish on it. I think if there's potential for obviously to go wrong, but I think that people feel that about everything. Remember, everyone was really upset about the year 2K because of a number, and nothing happened. Right?
Yeah.
One sec, bro.
Sorry.
Take it, mate. Take the call.
Mum? Hang on, let me turn this. Right, here we go. Sorry, guys. Doing deals over here. The phone's going off the hook.
I look at it as a massive liberator, right? So the CEO of Komatsu, which is that big, mining so they're one of the leading companies in Japan.
Yes.
And they said, well, we wouldn't dream of having people do dangerous things.
Yeah.
So the concept of PPE is a very, personal protective equipment. It's a very last line of resort. Whereas in their factories now, no one lifts anything heavy.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
No one welds anything. Done. So, but they don't see it as, the elimination of jobs, but they see it the elimination of risk.
Yep.
They even have a framework, which is they call Society 5.0, where they're investing trillions into this because they recognize that they're going to have to rely on it, because they're not going to rely overly on immigration because it's politically unsound in Japan. They just don't like it because they want to preserve that culture. So, but I see it as a massive, massive liberator. So take something that I used to get a bit of work on. I remember there was this a client that you gave to me that needed help with the writing because she was Chinese national, but she was here and she was doing all this the imitation plants and flowers, and she had like 100 products that she needed like 20-word product description, but she's operating in a second language, so therefore she had an incurred cost with someone like me going, well, listen, it's going to cost X per product description times 100. We quoted her and she didn't roll with it. But as soon as ChatGPT came out, I gave her a call. Well, I sent her an email and said, hey, try this. This will change your life. And she really appreciated it. And I don't think...
Good on you, man.
Yeah.
There's no two Ben Saravias.
That's right. I hate the idea of of information being siloed. This is the dream. So if you wanted to look at, say, Southeast Asia or Africa or something like that, which you might go, I'd love to build schools. I'd love to build schools and help everyone out. Notwithstanding that there are fantastic schools and nations, and not trying to stereotype the place, but that is what I would call a top-down way of trying to infer change in society. But this is a bottom-up. So almost everybody, even in the poorest towns, will have mobiles. In the favelas of Brazil, everybody has a mobile, right? You can get access to a mobile because we throw them away like they're junk.
Can I just jump in quickly? When we shot the video in Vanuatu, little Ollie, the kid that lives in a shack there's no floor, he's got chickens running through his house and lives on the ocean. Mate, he had that 4G. Don't worry, he had that thing in his pocket and he was asking to charge that phone, man. He had no shoes or nothing, but he had a phone in his hand.
Sorry to interrupt you guys, but have you got a USB-C?
Yeah, bro. Sorry, man.
Great.
Sorry.
But that's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
So where I grew up, I used to know this Filipino couple. They were adults and I was a child, but there was this guy called Ruben, and he was so wonderful. Like Carlos Santana on the guitar.
Wow.
Just brilliant.
Yeah.
And I said to Ruben, how did you get so good? And he said, well, when I was a kid, I didn't go to school. I was in rice. My parents were farmers. We had rice paddies. So I used to sit in this sort of rice paddy hut in the middle of things, and I'd pull the strings, rattle pans if birds came and disturbed the rice paddy fields. So it was quite boring, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
He said one day his uncle came along and gave him a guitar, just handed him a guitar. And fast forward, if you've got nothing to do and you've got a guitar, you'll learn how to play. But the liberation and sort of the democratization of knowledge, that anybody can go, teach me Spanish, teach me English, how do I fix my roof? Why is my child ill, assuming you didn't have access to medical care? You can actually take a photograph of something and it might be better than guessing. The idea that intelligent people just had a rough time. So, I just know people who are super smart who, for one reason or another, being a scallywag or it wasn't their game or whatever, just didn't pay attention in English. And even to this day, their written ability or their writing ability is lacking. And so that affects their confidence, which means they're less likely to apply for jobs or all of this thing. All of that's over. All of that's over. You can now go in and say, help me write this essay. Please explain my strengths and weaknesses. Analyze my CV and help me explain these gaps. And you used to have to pay a lot of money for that.
That's true. There is absolute utility for it. from that aspect, but do you also think, like I speak from myself, right? Like straight away, those people sending me those essays lose value.
That's right.
As the receiver, the recipient on that, I've become so sharp, and my perception of value has just, there's a new playing field now. It's like, it just is. It's looking at, I'm interviewing people, and I get to a certain point with them where I don't think they've quite won me over. And I'm like, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you the opportunity to give me a presentation to show me what your first 3 months is going to look like here. And then there's a group of people that jump on ChatGPT, send me this thing, and I just fucking bin all of those straight away. But then there's the other few that do something unique and humane and just, it's them. It's just showing me a piece of their essence that nothing else or no one is going to. And I've just got instant time, and there's just more value in that. So I definitely know exactly what you're talking about, bro. And when you say liberation, I see that too, man. Absolutely. There's so much good to it as well. Like, it's not all, I don't know where I sit with it, whether it's doom and gloom side or if I'm hopeful.
It's probably like money though, isn't it? You know, is money good or bad? I guess it's what you effectively do with it.
Correct. But I think it's probably the scary thing is the speed that it's evolving. And so, because in time, wherever there has been sort of an evolution of technology or anything, there's sort of this adjustment phase. Whereas now, it's just going so fast that you just have no idea the possibilities of what you can and can't do with it. So then how do you react or manage something good or bad that comes of it in that time? The speed that it's happening at is probably something that's probably a little bit alarming.
Well, it's because AI is feeding into its own virtuous cycle of intelligence.
Yeah.
That's why we can't keep up with it, because it's faster than our learning ability. So if you just to talk about that point about low quality GPT generation, and so you can see that, and you can see it in people's communications, you can see it on their posts online, and you're like, well, this might be factually correct, but because it has none of the nuances of your insight, your ability, or just your flavor, it's not as interesting, right? Because it's not really you. And so you might get these absurd, this is crazy, you'll get kids handing in essays that have been written have been generated on a AI model. And now the teachers are marking it using an AI model. So someone who didn't create the work is having the work marked by someone who doesn't really see the work or doesn't care.
Yeah.
So no one's learning. So that's like low quality effort. That's like that's just trying to jump on something and go, oh well, clean my whole house. It's never going to work like that. Yeah. So if you take, I've been talking about Japan a little bit.
It's cool, man. Let's do it. It's on your radar.
It's on my radar. I wrote what is effectively a white paper on it.
Yeah.
To do that, I went and, so let's compare and contrast this to what I would have traditionally done. Traditionally, if I was going to write, say, this is prior to chat. So one of the negatives of chat, of course, is like a calculator. If you never learn maths and you only have a calculator, then as soon as that calculator is gone, you're going to be found wanting. So I once joked to someone in a moment of, ego, that I have ChatGPT in my head. It's not quite that ability, but I'm good with words, language.
Yeah.
Cognitive choreography is my thing.
Yeah.
So I can. But I learned that, yes, I had an element that was just a natural ability, which you like, which is why I'm not good at other things. But I also learned that the hard way, writing blogs, getting feedback, people going, that's a bit weak, whatever, to the point now that when you generate something from ChatGPT, I can analyze that in real time. So whereas I used to sit there writing, going, oh, how can I make this more flowery? I've trained the model on my own language and on my own articles. So I can't really bring myself to write something that I can get something else to write even better. But let me explain where the difference comes in. Firstly, the way these these language models, these LLMs, are basically trained on vast amounts of data. You ask it, and it's going to respond in many ways like human processing, which is what we find when it analyzes documents is it often puts more emphasis on the first bit of the document and the back end of the document. Mm-hmm. It's trying to balance speed and response time versus quality. So whatever you're going to get, if you do, just do this article, for an interview, it's going to be average. But if you go in there and have all the sources and you spend the time collating the model, so you go, so yes, have the large language model, which is available to the entire world. But then you need to come in and put your own, not just a prompt, but your own sources, your own style, and then look at it and go, so it might generate you something 3,000 words, and you have to go through line by line and go, is that relevant? Where's the nuance? And you can interrogate it with ChatGPT or anything you want. So I stack models. This is really important, I think, for people to understand. A language model is in a way closed in that it's been trained on X, Y, Z, and it might be improving that over time. But that's why, say, if you take something ChatGPT, is very good at sort of certain elements. But if you put it into Gemini, and go, I have taken this from Chat, Gemini will humanize it.
Okay.
Right? And if you put it back into Notebook LLM, that'll give you the citation and ensure that it's factually correct, because you don't want those hallucinations. So we're leveraging multiple AI models on each other so that's where you get into agentic AI. Agentic AI is something that can actually, I send you a document, you send that document back with improvements. We have a brand document, we take it to the entire team and get the entire team to review it in like a peer review. What do you think? What do you think? But now you can get agents to do that. So at every stage, these agents, so you stack agents upon them. So you have a language model, the prompt, and then you have agents that can ensure quality control all the way down the line, and then teach themselves. So I might set an AI, agentic AI, to go off and learn about some sort of consumer behavior, and then have another AI assessing its results, and then another AI assessing the assessment of the results to make sure that, because if you make a small error at somewhere you can magnify that problem. So AI is yes, it's a tool, but it's something that you want to choreograph yourself. Right? So for going back to my greater thing, I might spend 8 hours on one article now, like this huge white paper I'm doing. But it would have taken me 2 weeks to have found those sources and to have interrogated those sources. You see what I mean? So then I can come and give you something that is absolutely 100% original work. But instead of spending all my time going, how does that sound? I'm more concerned with the extreme relevance and authenticity of the document. There's no document like that. There is none. So if I give you another one, I was working with mining a lot. So if you were to go into a ChatGPT and you go, what are the rules for mining and safety regulations in Queensland? Now, it's going to give you a relatively good response, but it has certain barriers to documents that it just doesn't have access to, like the ISO 23785 and all of this about silica ingestion and stuff like that. So you can go and get all of those documents from the Queensland's governments. You can buy ISO docs. You can pilfer them, whatever you want. Go in there and find a YouTube video where the head of Queensland Mining or the CEO or whatever did a 4-hour presentation which has been viewed 45 times. Pull the transcript, put it all together, put it into a model, and then give it to everybody in the mining industry and say, if you now interrogate this model, it is highly specific to Queensland legislation and mining. There's nothing like that out there. And I built that in 2 weeks. But it's not complicated. That's what I'm saying. This is not complicated. I'm not a coder. I'm not a
No. I heard some, gosh, you took my mind so many places then, bro. I hope I can memorize it and come back to it. I should have recorded it. Get AI to do it. A couple of things was that I'll probably just say now. There's upskilling I want to come back to. I want to talk about there's retention of knowledge now, which is no longer needed. So once upon a time, it was super important for the assessment to learn and retain knowledge, right? To submit the assessment to the teacher, so they can understand that if you're in a situation or in a profession where you're on the machine line, you're gonna, or if you're a doctor or whatever, you can recall and operate and do what you need to do and perform. But so much of that now, the retention of knowledge and learning to hold knowledge is somewhat and arguably becoming redundant, depending on probably what it is, which in itself is pretty scary, because in the next 50 years, if no one really knows what to do and the power goes out and someone's having a heart attack on the plane, or something breaks and you can't literally just jump on ChatGPT, or you can't recall that knowledge that no one's put the effort in to learn and understand and know, all right, then what happens?
But in that scenario, the assumption is a universal forgetting.
Yes.
Of knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, why would that happen? Like,
well, what? Tell me about that then. Like, so, because now, for instance, right, I heard this quote the other day, and I'm paraphrasing it. Maybe I'll fucking kill it. But it went along the lines of: you want to learn something, read about it. You want to teach something, write about it. All right. If you want to master something,
do it.
Yes. Something like that. That's right. And I think that's why you're so knowledgeable, right? You have the ability to be able to speak and understand. Your knowledge, bro, is so broad, because I believe you've had so many things that have come across your table in the past where you've actually had to really understand it and write it.
Absolutely.
And reference it. So the shit had to be true. Okay. And so now, though, if you don't have to do that, you don't have to really look into it, and maybe you still check it to reference it, but like if there's no need to do that anymore, right? So then there's a skill that is lost. And how do you recall? It's like the calculator, like you said it before, right? If you've got an equation in front of you, you now need a calculator to do it. If you don't have a calculator, how do you solve that?
Yes, and yes, absolutely.
Right.
And also you can be taken advantage of.
Correct.
Correct.
But I just wanted to add to that too. I look at my family in Vanuatu, right, where they can fish and hunt. And gosh, if I was stuck on an island over there, I'd want to be with Leonie's brother, because I know that dude, I don't know,
knows where the good stuff is.
We'll eat, right? Yeah. And we are now where we are. The world's evolved, and we've come past that sort of primitive era, right? And we're okay. But then again, I don't think that there's ever been anything like this from an intellectual point. Yeah.
So,
covered a lot there.
Yeah. I think this is really important, because what will happen is, what I think you're talking about is comprehension.
Yeah.
I think the days of submitting work for assessment are very much done.
Yeah.
Because it's just too hard. Because you get something to understand it. So therefore, I'm going to want to sit down and talk to you, right? I'm gonna, and your teacher should now go, okay, your exam. I've got exams tomorrow. What's that? 3 professors are going to assess you.
Yeah.
On your ability and your comprehension of this subject.
Yes.
So it'll be comprehension that people want to ensure. So if you take the same document that I am talking about that I made the other day, is when all is said and done, and then you go through it, you have to go through it line by line, because otherwise you haven't absorbed it. You don't comprehend what you've created.
Yes.
There can be hallucinogenic sort of things where it's made up data and gotten citation wrong. So one hopes that you are working on something that you find mildly interesting, you know, and that's sort of more philosophical to do what you want to do, but also that there is that at the moment, there's just absolutely no substitute for understanding what you're putting out. I mean, you can get a machine to build your wall, you know, or a 3D printer to build a house. You best check it. You need human intervention in almost every stage to ensure that quality. That's such a long way away. People used to say, "Oh, mechanics are done for." No, mate.
No. Like, let's go back though to like the whole robotics conversation and how you said before, like people create all of this written literature for workplace health and safety, and no one fucking reads that shit,
That's
right?
true.
But really, all of those processes and policies are created within a company, all right, and the standard operations and procedures for someone to act upon and do the job, right? So if you take a lot of that away, right, if you replace people in there, they don't need to do that. And there's no need to recall information, what are we upskilling in? This is where I was going before with my upskilling point.
Yeah.
Where now and how are we upskilling, and what do we upskill in? What's important to upskill in? And it's interesting what you just said before too. You mentioned, you said, with comprehension, it'd be great just to sit down and have a conversation with the student. You know, it's so interesting now to me, and the thing of value when recruiting is I get everyone, send me a short video. I want a video, and it's favoured upon if you speak freely around, these are the things I'd like you to talk around. Who are you? What do you do? This is the position. Like, just simple shit. And really, it's, you know what I want to know, and what I want to see is I want to see how they think. I want to see how they think, how they respond, and how they hold themselves. And to me, there's so much value in just watching a person now and just think on their feet, speak, present to a camera. That's if they're client facing as well, by the way.
Yeah.
They're client facing. But so what do people now? Because there's what do they upskill in now? Where's that going to go? Like, because there is the shift now of like you're only as good as your last prompt. Right? Like, because like that's, and I'm being so cold with that, but there's truth in it too, mate.
What do you upskill to?
What do you upskill in now? Like I'm sort of thinking forward a little bit, but if robotics have come in, we don't need to retain knowledge anymore because people can get instant access to information. At the drop of a hat, you can get agents critique that information and check it. So really,
Well, the utopian view would be that you liberate yourself from the mundane tasks of life.
and the need to upskill.
The skills are going to emerge. So there's so if you took, say, farming was something like 70% of employment or something in the 1950s in the US was farming, and now it's like 3% because they have those automated machines. But it didn't mean that there's now a huge plethora of people who are unemployed. One is hopes that you then either say if this is kind of an Elon Musk vision, but and it could go many different ways, but one would hope that you would spend less time doing stuff that's just not necessary, so that you are liberated to do more, I guess, higher dimension activity in your life. So, but in terms of a short term, if I was anybody, basically white collar jobs, let's look at those, right? If it was me, I would, which I am doing, is so I'm not an expert on this subject. I've basically done a Gary V, and I've put in about 50 hours of listening and learning, and then creating a chat that will teach me quicker, you know. So we need, like I've said, there's going to be all these different intelligence systems that are going to augment, replace, support our pre-existing lifestyle. If you were upskilling now, it's just like when the internet came up. My dad never touched the internet. He died not knowing what the internet was. My mom knows the internet. She can message me on 17 different platforms. You know, So I think, I'm not sure if I'm really answering your question because it's so much of it's unknown, but
Yeah.
I do think that the frame that you approach this with is personal liberation
Yeah.
or personal replacement. And whatever your decision or your outlook is probably going to be reinforcing. So, because there's still a huge amount of application needed. So I just go back to content creation, right? Everybody, when you say content creation, it's really that there's the medium of information exchange, how you advertise, absolutely everything has been, again, democratized. I could make a video that is more valuable than and get more traction than what something that Coca-Cola might put out tomorrow. So, you know, we used to say, when you look at that, you go, well, it's an opportunity to speak your mind, whether it's your beliefs, your religion, your business, your hobbies, whatever, speak your mind. But if you were to take the time and build the foundations of whatever it is, the informational foundations of whatever it is that you want to talk about, that's still, so like, let me take you back to my Japanese, 300-page document. That now is probably not going to be read by many, but that will be now a source document which I can take, which is not plagiarized. It's my work. It's never been produced. How I produced it's up to me, but it's never ever been produced. It has interconnecting insights from economy to cultural aspects that no one's considered or put together in this way. I can now take that, put it through any of these programs, and say, hey, let's create a LinkedIn or any platform content for the next 12 months based on this. And I want it to build. So I want that content to build in a way that people who are on that journey with me get educated, as opposed to presupposing knowledge or assuming a lack thereof. And it will do it. So people used to come to me and say, can you generate ideas? They still do, because people still won't do certain stuff.
Yeah.
And then you take all of those ideas and then you go, well, okay, how am I going to create this? And then you go, oh, visually, I want to put some imagery with it. Well, then now I'm starting to, interrogate Sora AI, Gemini's image generation. And then you go, well, okay, I put this all together.
Yeah.
I've got this wonderful document. I've got images that are authentic. Then I'm going to go in there and do the old-fashioned stuff, the alt text, the metadata. All of that you still need to do.
Okay.
Oh, bloody hell. And then you go, wait a minute, I'll upload that photograph. So I upload the photograph, because one of the new technologies is visual reading, UKA or something. The acronyms get me, but basically before it couldn't see what you were bringing up. Now it's like, that's a photograph of a train station here.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll put that photograph up and go, give me the most SEO relevant caption.
Yes.
Alt text for people who can't see, or different programs that read alt text, and et cetera, et cetera. And it gives me them all back. Then I put them into that picture. Then I put that picture back into the document. I have to do all of that at the moment, right? But what happens is, when it goes online, you then become a darling to the Google and all the things, because what you've done is created original content, you've linked it, you've interlinked it, you've alt texted it, you've H1, H2, H3 headed it, all of this so that it can be read readily.
Yeah.
And so at the end of that, you might go, oh, well, I didn't... in the old days, it took me a day to write an article, and today it took me a day to write an article. But the difference is this article is foundational, it is exceptional, and better than anything I could have ever done. And it will create the blueprint for the next 12 months. Now, if I want to stagger that with another article, and another article, and another article, then what I could get is 10 pieces of content that are high quality, absolutely original, every day, and I will outperform anybody. That's not theoretical. That is right now. And I've done that to such a high effect. In the old days, we used to write blogs and go, oh, is it SEOing and stuff? Now I go, why is this not SEOing? We got a new program came out the other day, IVMS compliant, in-vehicle monitoring systems. So they're like, we can see how machines turn corners, ragging it, all of these sort of things. So we were like, well, we want SEO for number one for this. So instead of writing, we went and found all the sources and created a document for a page specifically for this. We were number one in Google within 7 days. It doesn't take 3 weeks anymore. So everything I've said sounds a little bit like Gary Vee used to say, but in the old days, but this is quality, quantity at scale. That's the absolute benefit of this technology. So if you're anybody, man, you're an artist, you don't need to ask me. You can ask ChatGPT. But remember, I used to be a personal trainer, right?
Yes.
And all of that information has been around for 100 years.
Yeah.
Eat less, eat well, exercise,
Yep.
etc. People still want you to help them.
Correct.
So that's the upskill. Bring it together for people.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you from a copywriting standpoint, what are there any sort of boundaries that or things that you write where you won't use AI from a moral standpoint?
What I like to do, you see, if someone sends you something that they've generated from AI, in terms of, say, like I'll do client discovery sessions for you guys all the time, right? So we'll sit down, but there might be other information like, oh, can you talk to me about what your female representation of your staff is? I'd like to talk about, you know, what they do and blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's International Women's Day, we'll do a little piece for it. Sorry, what was your question?
What wouldn't you use AI for?
So when they send that to me and I can see it's AI generated, then I have nothing to go from. There's no original starting point. So if it's not necessarily a subject that I wouldn't use it for. I'm pretty sure that I will use AI in absolutely everything I do. But what I'm saying is I will start the writing piece.
Yeah.
Anything I do, especially stuff that I do, which is a thought piece, right, which I like to do. I will write at least 500, 600, 700 words, just stream of consciousness, because I can write super fast. I can type faster than I can speak, so I don't use the audio thing.
Me too. Just doesn't make any sense.
Spell check's a little bit rough. Do it in 2 minutes, but 20 minutes checking the.
Just tap those keys.
It's like that joke, you know. It's like, War and Peace, the massive book.
Yeah.
It's like I sped read War and Peace. Oh yeah, what was it like? Something about Russians. It's like, what did you retain?
Yeah, bro.
No, I will start there, because if you don't start with the kernel of authenticity, what you'll get is undeniably chat, AI generated stuff, and you can't seem to pull it back if it was all of it. Right. So if I go, hey, what do you think of your company? And they gave me this beautiful passage, I'm like, bro, I would have much rather you just text me what you thought, rather than you went to a GPT model, because now all the authenticity's gone.
It's gone.
That's what's
I ask you that because there's probably a couple of things, but the main one is I feel like there's a new realm, like there's new context that's opening up. And so if you put it in context of marketing, like once upon a time, sending someone a handwritten letter, right, was effective. And mind you, that's arguably come back around and probably is quite effective. But then there's like email, right? So if you get inundated with emails, right, that someone's written, it's like, oh, fuck, it's just noise, and trying to cut through that. And there's just these, over time, there's just different ways of communicating which are evolving. And I believe that this is a new one, but the market is already like super aware and sharp to critique and see that it is AI, right? But I also too, like I'm working on, I don't know if I mentioned it to you, and I've brought it up a couple of times now. I've got to get moving on it, but I'm writing a book for my kids, and it's so challenging because I've got this moral dilemma where I don't want to use AI at all, but I know that it's this super powerful, effective tool that could help, but I just don't want its influence or its
tentacles.
And I'm just like, because then it just loses this thing, which is what I think everyone still is craving and wanting, which is what you were saying before, like being a personal trainer, the information's been around for ages, but they still want me, they want my essence to be in and around and to give it to them, right? Like they still need it to know that it's authentically me and has my meaning to it. So that's why I just asked. I was just like, are there any pieces where you're just like, nah, this stays out. This is me just getting my piece down and communicating.
I I have a very small Substack, which I write. It's called Painting the Buddha, and it starts off on this story that I basically went to the Chenrezig Institute in Udlo, somewhere in Miles, 4-hour drive, Tibetan monastery, effectively, and so I was going there, seeking enlightenment, and all of this, the Sangha, community.
When was this?
I've been going for years, actually.
Where at?
I don't know if I've never heard it said, but it's Eudlow, Udlo, northern Brisbane.
That'll do. Let's go with that.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle of Wop.
We'll
That's what my dad used to do. If I didn't just,
That's right.
and anyway, so I'm writing that, and it's writing for the joy of writing, because I spend so much time. It's not that I don't enjoy it, but I reformatting other people's dreams and intentions and plans and strategies, So that's great. But there I'd write this thing called Painting the Buddha, and that's philosophical meanderings, reflections, and I couldn't have someone else interpret that, because it would lose the spirit of what I was trying to do and how I felt, and an AI will beautify that. But I will still take the work that I've done and go, can you critique this like you are a philosophy professor, and show where I've tangent, because you do tangent when you talk about anything philosophical, massive tangents. And the risk of humble bragging, when you start talking about spirituality and stuff. So I test it for things like that, and I go, where might I lose people? And they go, this isn't really relevant.
Yeah.
Your story was kind, and this is taken away from your story. Oh, I say. Okay. So yeah, I would, but it's just, I don't know, it's just like having Jordan Peterson in the side room and saying, mate, do you want to read my article before I publish it? I think you should. But
I think about that too, because I think like if you're going to write a book, you've got a publisher, and your shit would probably go to them, and they'll be like, hey, no, let's just spin it like this.
Yeah.
And I don't know that dance, but I'm sure that's what happens, right, when you write books. I don't know, and so I sort of go, well, maybe that's what it is, right? It's just like a publisher, and they just sort of clean up. No, like let's just change the structure of this and put this here, and
well, because the exercise is learning. You're learning when you do that. So I can read a doc just because of experience. I can read a doc and go, this is lacking in summary, or this is an unclear opening passage, and so I can interrogate my work or the work it's generated over and over again in real time. If you took somebody who hadn't gone to school or had never written articles or anything like that, give him a ChatGPT outputted article, he might go, hey, that looks great.
Yeah.
But you would know it wasn't. I would know it wasn't great.
Yeah.
So I look at it like this with AI and me. It's like everyone's got new shoes, right?
Yeah.
And you can run faster with these shoes. Usain Bolt's still going to be faster than you, right? So use these tools, but then you have to teach yourself maths. You have to teach yourself writing. You have to know these things, because you might have your calculator or whatever, but some dude's like, hey, I give you 20% off, and then another 20% off. Is that 40%? No. It's 20% off the first price, and then it's reduced, and you get an additional 20% off the reduced price.
Yeah.
That's a common hang-up with people who haven't done maths. But if you're in some country and you're negotiating some mangoes, you're done for. You know what I mean? So, unless you want to be someone who's not very smart, what you want to use these tools, but then you've got to read the output. Otherwise, you're going to be found with your pants down. You'll be in an interview, or you'll be.
There's an interesting analogy. You went around to trading mangoes.
I love mangoes.
Same as my wife. Favorite food.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I find myself, because I have done it, I'm not. It's not what it's about with what I'm doing. But I actually asked ChatGPT to highlight in yellow its input, and like so separate my input to its, so I can see what it's done, and it's interesting. So I've like literally got this like literature that's just written down the page, and then it literally highlights where its inserts are in and around mine, and it just sort of like, patches it, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And I think really it'd be crazy if that's what, if everyone, or if there was something that when you got it, right, whether it was a proposal or an email or something from someone, if it gave you that, right? Like if you could go, oh, it's the whole fucking thing is ChatGPT, or, oh, I know, actually, fuck, they wrote that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, you're soon probably going to find a situation where the email is written by AI and your response is generated by AI as well. So you're not really talking.
No. And that's where I come back to upskilling. It's like, really, what do you need to know now? And actually, I went for my coffee the other morning, and the fucking Wi-Fi was out.
Oh, yeah.
Who pays with cash these days? And
you're done for.
Mate, literally, they're just like, I don't even think they had a till. I just think they had an iPad there.
Yeah.
And so then it's just like free coffees, like all morning trade. And I'm like, you hope you pull that back in the next day. You hope everyone comes back in. Like, what's the solution there? And I thought about that. I'm like, wow. Like, I was just like, the Wi-Fi was down.
You're done for.
For the best part, you probably just lost a couple of grand for a little cafe in the morning. I was like, oof. You either turn them all away and don't serve them, or you serve them and just lose the trade. You lose the money. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I think when Optus went down, they made some huge public disasters. And one of them was this barber was like, how am I meant to do business? And the CEO of Optus said, I would have thought you'd been able to cut hair without Wi-Fi. Right? She lost a job over it because he turned around and was like, it's not about the cutting of the hair. How do I take the payments? She completely missed the point, and that you can't do that. Yeah, that's
what I mean. That's that's where, like, when you really sort of follow that link, and it's like, okay, you produce this to read this, you create this content. Like, really, what are you doing? Like, you're educating, you're entertaining, and like, so really, why do we need to retain the knowledge that you're educating people on? Like, that's essentially where it's going. It's from an information standpoint, things are going to get taken care of, right? There's going to be agents and automations, processing information, liberating you from things where you've had to think before. Okay, so you don't need to do that. Yeah. That's what's going to come to light, right? Robotics come into the play, okay? We don't need to dig holes anymore. There's excavators. Right?
That's right.
All right, so we haven't got 100 dudes out there on shovels and picks, and not in our country anyhow. But although
we still pick mangoes.
We still, okay, yeah.
With British and French backpackers and a huge army of Polynesians that we bring in every year.
Because robotics haven't advanced at the light of...
But they have in other countries. We just haven't adopted them.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, cool. So let's just say every job, right, there's a robot for right now. Every job, okay?
Yeah.
So what do humans upskill? What do we do? How do we contribute?
Well... I just don't see that.
We trade mangoes.
I don't think we have that in. We won't have that in our lifetime.
Ooh, don't you think?
No.
Okay.
It's too many things.
That's the big discussion now.
Yeah.
It's like, what happens when all these jobs go?
Yeah.
Do we just give equal pay to everyone? Does the government? Have you heard this argument?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I mean, some governments do that. Like, Norway and everyone, they get cut
Centrelink.
Yeah, they get cut checks. Or like in some of the Arab nations, they get cut checks.
Yeah.
So here's your portion, here's your 20 grand, mate, for all the oil we sold. But I personally can't see that happening. I mean, because like there's still so many things like forestry management. Forestry management, it's just, you need guys with chainsaws to go in there. You just can't, at the moment, get them to be able to select trees, fell them, drag them in small remote communities and stuff. That a lot of the robotics will still need to be augmented by by sort of what I call human intervention at certain circuit breaks, which is why you'll need that. But surely it will reduce the capacity. Ideologically, or ideally in a utopian society, what you would do is you would reach, this is wonderful, but you would reach a balance where the food comes in and this all happens, and we spend our days in self-realization, talking to each other and having a great time. But I don't think that's going to happen
in our lifetime.
No. And you talk about sort of memory and recall and stuff, but I mean, AI will basically now is remembering stuff. So you know how it used to be like every time you'd open a book, it'd be a new chapter, or like it completely forgot everything about you. But now it's starting to remember, and we basically remember things, I think, on sort of 3 levels. So if you think of your first experience as a child, your first memory, you actually are recalling your memory. So every time you recall that memory, your brain regenerates the memory. So when we ask you questions, we can actually influence the memory by going, what was, why were you excited at that moment? And then you will reform elements even though you don't realize it. So we have procedural memory, how to ride a bike, drive a car, somatic memory, which is like most mangoes are yellow when they're ripe, and experiential memory. I once saw a guy do this and this happened, or and those 3 factors, AI can adopt some of them, but not all of them, and it still can't create connection, which might be, whatever example you want. So it can't augment at the moment reality with the digital world. So yeah, it can see stuff and all that. But so I'll give you an example. Same paper, basically Japan has therefore made it the business infrastructure in Japan, going over there, starting up a business, all of that sort of stuff is from a governmental perspective very easy now. There's incentives. You need 40,000 Australian dollars to set up a business and get a business visa and start up tech in Tokyo. I mean, that's great. So that is knowledge. But then there is going on YouTube and reading blogs and stuff about people who live in Tokyo, and they're like, yeah, it might seem like it's easy, but then when you go there to do it, there's so much regulation, red tape, and blah, 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 so maybe it's not quite as fluent or as easy as you want. Then you might speak to someone who actually works in that area. And then you combine all of that, and then that's closer to truth. But AI couldn't have done that. Perceptions of beauty and care, very hard, but not impossible, but very hard to simulate, I
was listening to this gentleman. He's deemed the godfather of AI. He's an old man now. He's on Stephen Bartlett's. It's one of his most recent podcasts. Gosh, that one seemed pretty doom and gloom. But he made a point saying that he believes it will get to a point where, didn't quite use the word emotion, but he sort of spoke around it like, let's just say you have an AI agent is in a call center and someone calls them, but that person just wanted to have a chat with the AI all day. Well, that would become bad for business and its purpose, and so it will somehow not be taught, but he thinks it will, and again paraphrasing it, but almost learn to get bored, or to because of the purpose of the actual call itself is to get to a point, close business, and if someone's there to just literally have a chat, it'll not develop emotions, but it will learn. And so I think.
Okay, let's take that example. I obviously haven't listened to that element of that podcast, but there would be no real cost because you're not actually paying for that AI to talk to this guy. He might have waited on the call, be rerouted to an overseas call center and gotten a medium response versus speaking to this agentic AI or whatever at length, and then you have someone out there who has a robust and positive experience of your company.
Yeah.
So if you ring up and you're ringing up your doctor or you're ringing up whatever, and every time you have to repeat what you talked about before, but how about if I rang up and it remembered my voice and was like, oh yes, Ben, you've been having trouble with X, Y, Z, and the point is we were going to do this, then you'd feel quite liberated. Where one of the things people hate about AI is having to repeat themselves. But now that it remembers and can learn about you, then I would say that would be a great response. The positives, right? Some of the positives are just remarkable. In healthcare.
Well, healthcare is one of the most affected positively, I see.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You got a mole on your face, I can have AI look at it versus 100 million moles in a minute, in a second, and then peer review it.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get that many dermatologists to peer review.
Yeah.
Your
quantifying data on a cellular level, like biology on a cellular level, like we humans can't do that.
Yes, and when I did a biotechnology degree, and back in the day, the one of the most worthwhile jobs was bioinformatics, because the rate of what were decoding genomes, the human genome, it took a collaborative effort of 1,000 universities to map the human genome of one person. And now they can do it in a week or something. Just chuck in a bit of, a hair or something, and they can do it quite quickly. But then the assessment of the data there was so much data was produced that you had bioinformatics, so statisticians with a biological slant to try and interpret the data.
Yeah.
But now that can be done immediately. I don't know if you interrogate AI when you're down, or if you have any issue, its therapeutic ability is remarkable, and they've taken people. So think about that. Think about Ruben on back in the rice paddy field, feeling down one day, and he gets he goes guitar, whatever, and he looks up his phone and he's like, what about this? And it will turn around and go, you're completely right to feel that way, But remember, this will change. You are young. Would you like me to discuss some things that you could do to make your time more worthwhile? Yes, I would. Or I'm feeling down, and then we'll go, well, what is it that's got you? What I put one in the other day. It was really dark, but I thought I'll just challenge it. And I was like, man, is it all worth it considering we will all die? Right? I was on the thing, is this all worth it? The constant learning and everything like that. And the way it responded was so brilliant. It's like, I gotcha, It's like, we all feel like that sometimes. You think, well, is it worth thinking? Because what's really troubling you? Is it, and I go, oh, well, this and that. And that's like, no, we won't replace. And that experience, especially if it's audible, like if you can have a conversation, is just going to revolutionize therapeutic care, because the advice is right. The advice in many ways is better than trained psychologists. It's endless. It's free. There's endless patients for you. I've done it. You'd have the 12-step program for Alcoholics Anonymous and all of that. That can be that framework can be used for anything. It can be used for phone addiction, any addiction or anything like that. So I've taken myself through that framework. I took myself through that framework for news. I love the news, politics and stuff like that. But it's actually quite negative for me. So it created an entire program, replacement activity, what to do when and if, and I can't get enough of it. The liberation. You're not going to sit with the CEO of a big company and take out your ChatGPT and try and explain to it what the narrative arc of a script is going to be. You need to know that. You need to know that if you're going to speak to people about something. But then go and make it using all the tools. To not do so is such a competitive disadvantage that you're going to be done for. But I don't see it as negative at all,
for me.
Depends what light you shine on it.
Yes, exactly.
Like you touched on a couple of things there. You get my brain firing, mate. You know, there's something I sort of mentioned it to a Christian brother out there, and from a point of, I think I'm a big believer in connection, and I'm not a man. I'm a man of faith, but not sort of in any structure, right? And so I believe like there's whether it's prayer or meditation, and the self that you tap into and ask questions and almost have a conversation with. I wonder if that's going to be there when you've got it in your pocket.
I just spoke to a chap, Zeus.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
business Zeus.
Yeah.
He's made ChatJC.
Oh, of course he has.
He's a brilliant guy.
It is charging $9.95.
Damn right. He said to me, he goes, I mean, if American pays $1 and there's 1 million of them, I'm like, as in like, not, he knows there's more than 1 million, but
Did
1
he
million.
drive off in his Bentley?
That's right. He's got, and I'm like, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, I've got ChatJC, Chat Krishna, and Chat Allah. I wish the last one I like.
Oh, he won't get that off the ground, bro.
Oh, so
Mate, they'll come for him, mate.
Step careful. But
ChatGPT will have that shit locked down.
Oh, right.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
They will not let. If anything,
you can make the models independently in your own.
No. I'm talking about from a trademark point of view.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Bro,
He's just making them, but he just changed that in a second.
Yeah.
But
anything with chat, you don't own it anymore.
Yeah, that's
right. Yeah.
But so I looked at. So we're talking about 10 resig and stuff. I looked at a.
How you going for time, brother?
Yeah, good.
Good.
I'm just conscious of not making it boring. But the when I was looking at this thing, there's a. What's it called? I don't know now. I can't remember. I think it's like Buddha Chat or Buddha AI or something like that. But it was actually made by it's an independent chat GPT, not a GPT, I should say.
Yeah.
Or an agentic thing, and it's been made by the Buddhist Society of whatever, and so versus a trained language model, it's trained it with all its monks, all its literature. They put so much stuff in there, and they've also put boundaries around its language and talk about, right? So when I went in there, I was like, namaste, and this thing was like, oh yeah, namaste. How wonderful it is to connect with you today. And I was like, look, can we talk about the Four Noble Truths and what's the practical applications for this and that? And it was brilliant. And then you go, well, what can I take away in my day-to-day life? And so you should still go to the temples. You should still do all of those things. Otherwise, what you're going to be like a recluse. But the learning and the knowledge of that was delivered to me in a way and in a pace that is better than if I was speaking. Granted, connection is huge, real connection. But if your intention is learning, so if you take a village which has, again, I was saying the democratization and the liberation of knowledge, if you have a school and that is in a town which is population decreasing, then the schools suffer, less quality teaching. Now you can have teachers being beamed in from all over the world-class professors that could, why speak to 20 when you could speak to 20,000?
Yeah.
And then not everyone can interrogate the professor, but they can interrogate him on his knowledge and get responses that are approved.
I hear you, brother.
You see what
Absolutely,
I mean?
man. There's also too, like I've spoken about it before, where I just think it's just pushing so far into the intellect now. Like
it's frightening.
It is, and like life, everything has to have a balance. And say like last night, my boy, right? And if he's ever troubled by something, right? And I'm like, what skills do I want to give him when he feels like he's alone and he doesn't have Wi-Fi, he doesn't have a phone, right? I want him to be able to sit comfortably and have the conversation he would probably have with ChatGPT, and in a journey of self-discovery and the tools that he's learned and understands about himself and his own wisdom is figure that shit out himself and do it by way of applying yourself, learning, helping others, all of those things, right? And that's probably where I was going with, there's this balance, right? And it's just going to be fucking interesting.
Oh yeah.
To see where this thing goes. And so, yeah, man. But
I think you should write your book.
I do. I attend to it every day.
Yeah.
In the mornings, just a little bit.
Don't use it.
It is tough though, man. Like to know that because it's like saying before, it's like I've got Google there, but I'm actually going to go on I'm going to go in encyclopedias and write with a feather. and so it is challenging, but no, it'll have so much more meaning, and I'm probably trying to make it inflated and blown out like it is this big thing, and probably the shortest little, because I literally write it on my phone, bro. So I'm texting with my thumbs, right?
Yeah.
And some mornings it can be quite long, some can be quite short, but maybe that's probably the cool thing about it too. Like maybe I'm looking for ChatGPT to just inflate it with like fluff.
Yeah, that's right.
And really, it probably should be exactly how I've just.
Well, there is something really beautiful about anything that you created prior to AI, open AI, is original. It'll never be like that again. That is an absolute, the day that launched was a very, very demonstrable global sociological change, because anything I've written before then, 100% is guaranteed to be authentic. Anything I've written after that, always going to be augmented.
We were talking about this.
Yeah, and that is true. That's
for all writers. There's that point in time where now it's like,
yeah,
I've written 100 books. Yeah, but have you?
Yes. So there should be, the quality has to go up. You've got new tools. You just have to get better and better, and the output has to be better. And you either use these things and train yourself so that you have comprehension, and then you use these tools, or in a way they're going to use you. But I've never really understood how economies really work when the majority of people are in offices. It's a very weird thing, to type and to move paper, and what do you do? Like there's no output really. And so much of that stuff, can you imagine, like out of an 8-hour day, we look at them and we go, well, we know really 5 hours is really the only work you do. How much of that is just dross, emails, this, that, something that could be done for you. See you later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's restacking shells.
Yeah.
Couldn't give a shit if you lose your job stacking shells, because I know you can do something better. And the very thing that is taking your job is giving you the opportunity to just open up absolutely huge horizons. You can become a subject matter expert so quickly. Like, I'll give you one thing. When I'm up in the hinterlands, I go around, and I was telling Luke earlier on how I'm doing Google reviews on almost every single place I go to, because some of them are so in their infancy, these businesses, and they've been around a long time, but they don't have any digital presence or very little, that I'll go in there and do it for them. But then, of course, I'm like, I'll take some nice photos, a little video, maybe I'll tweak them, maybe I'll SEO them, and I'll put it back on their site. And there's still a need for someone to go out and take that. There's still a need for someone to think of the idea around why it was good to do that day, and that social element of it. And then you go back and you use the tools to make so much more out of it than you ever would have. And then people get results. And so I couldn't, quote unquote, help that many businesses if I'm sitting there trying to think of something witty. It's easier to get it to do it, but the photos are real, the people are real, the stories are real, they're just better.
Yeah.
I was saying to Luke that just in the last few months, the reviews I've been doing just locally, they have over 1.2 million views. So I'm now like the top 1%. Well, it has certain categories. So I'm like a 1% cafe reviewer, but I'm in the top 10% of supermarkets. You know, but then there's all sorts of other businesses. But
Don't fuck with Ben if you've got a cafe, guys.
I'll tell you.
Make this man a good coffee.
If I bomb you,
Yeah, you're gone.
you're done.
That's right.
No, I don't do negative reviews.
Good man.
I don't do negative reviews. Or if I really do, I have a cleansing process, which like after a year, anyone who got less than like 2 or 1, you could have had a bad day. I can't punish you for eternity.
After a year.
But there's none left because I don't do it anymore. But there were, so if,
Holy shit! It's like a licensing point system, like car license. You just get points taken off, and it's just this rolling thing with you.
yeah.
Watch out, he's coming for you.
I had such a bad experience at the Radisson Hotel in Vancouver. Like, I found tissues and dirty this, and I took a video of it and I put it up, and they comped me, you know, the whole stay. But I still listen, man. Send me the photographs when you address that.
Yeah.
I'll update that. I'll update that review. But otherwise, that's a health hazard.
Yeah. Bring me back over there. Let me take some new photos of a clean room.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's a digression. But even that, you know, so if you go back in your across thousands, I've done thousands of reviews. AI will be used to assess whether you did real reviews or you used AI. So in that respect, it's actually going to improve the quality of it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like money, mate. I think it's what you do with it.
Agreed. Agreed.
It's a big chat.
Bro, is there anything you want to leave the listeners with today?
I just really love this story of not Albanese, Aibo. It's Japanese, and it's this little robotic dog. You will have seen it because it's been around for like 15 years, you know, one of those first ones that walked around. Now, because of that, you know, so few children and stuff like that, you have the largest aging demographic. Most Japanese are like over 70. Most of them are 40%, a huge amount, and that's just growing. This dog now, they implemented it with AI. It's like a companion dog, but it does this thing. It's like non-intrusive monitoring. So whereas sometimes, you know, people do welfare checks, right? I haven't heard from Miyoki for a week. Knock on the door. But you wouldn't really want to put a video in their house, right? Because that'd be an absolute violation of privacy. This dog, which learns your behavior, which interacts and stuff, will monitor you. If you fall over, it'll call an ambulance. It'll tell your parents. If it thinks you haven't woken up in the morning, it'll knock on the door. And if not, it has abilities to alert people to your health.
A dog?
A robotic dog.
Robotic dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's life augmentation. It can literally then they have these other robots. It's like, okay, these robots are picking people up and turning them over so that they don't get bed sores. You go, well, it'd be nice. It's sad that the human touch is lost because that's so valuable. At the same time, it's better than having bed sores. But those things then now project video of, like, you know, Zoom or something, of family members visiting them. So I can't visit you in the hospital, but I'm there. So that's better. But this dog is amazing because they can give them to old people and they learn and they act like animals and stuff. And it doesn't take very long before you create an emotional connection with something like that because, hell, you know, you can love your motorbike, can't you?
Wilson.
Had to say it. Miyoko. You know. Anyway, I thought that was really cool. Like, I think like I would like something like that because someone falls over. What do they do now? They have to be able to press an alarm. But what if they fall over and bump their head?
Yeah. Oh.
Done for.
Yeah.
Find you a few weeks later. How sad. This way, it's positive. So, yeah. There you go.
Awesome, brother. Thanks, man.
Thanks, buddy.
That was cool. I appreciated that.
We'll have to do another one because all of this will be,
that was rad.
It'll all be invalid in a month, won't it?
That's right. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Cheers.